Hi, this is Florida Natural Farming at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. And I had stopped making videos because they were just taking up so much of my time, and I needed to like reset myself and start working on other stuff like planting and dividing and stuff like that. So I've been dividing these heliconias, and I divided a bunch of bananas, got about 60 new plants. Because I don't really like to buy plants, so you have to divide and propagate. And when I make videos, I don't ever have time to do that. So I've been putting these heliconias around, and I just dig up the a few of the rhizomes together in a chunk of soil. And I used to cut the tops off, cut them at the ground and then dig up the rhizomes. But then it takes so long for them to really have a effect. It's like the carbon pumps aren't working. And while I was digging them up and bored, I wanted to look and see what the guidance was for growing heliconias in Florida. I had to giggle when it said water 2 to 3 times a week in Florida, because we do not water any of our heliconias. And the soil around the heliconias is really good. And black. So I've been putting them to try to hide the, get rid of that old pool screen. So I gotta go pick some Black Sapote fruit, and the bananas I planted. I didn't chop them off the ground either. I just dug them up whole, that I divided the bananas. Figure I have almost 200 banana trees now that I've planted between this year and last year. So like in a year. From stuff that I divided here. Free plants. I like it, tropical look, so the heliconias work for that with me. And they're such beautiful flowers. I did cut one off at the base and plant it over here. They just take forever to get going. But the flowers are gorgeous, so they capture all this moisture because it hasn't rained, and then it just runs down to the soil. Of the news and the drought in the West, it's so depressing, but I hear all this talk of the drought and everything, but they don't talk about the need to plant trees to keep from becoming a desert. They just completely, I never hear it mentioned. It just is kind of depressing that they're just, they know all this stuff prevents desertification when you plant trees, and then they don't even talk about it. People have forgotten how to plant trees. So beautiful here. I'm afraid, because we are still, listed with the agent with our real estate, but we told him we didn't want to sell. But This place is so beautiful that I just am just afraid that somebody is going to want to buy it, and I don't want to move. I don't want to sell, so it's just taken too long to get to this point. The fruit, the canistel fruit off this egg fruit, the delightful canistel, I did a lot of videos of it. I kept checking the fruit. We got like 4 fruit off it. It was the first year it fruited, and I had never eaten that grafted variety. It was a little tiny tree that I, Black Sapotes, that I grafted tree that was, you know, about this big. So 6, 8 inches, pencil-sized tree that I planted here 5 years ago. It's pretty big, sprawling. So you can't even tell I divided these heliconias from here. They just start getting so thick that you just, I mean, look at that. I do my chop and drop. I know you people that like wood chips and stuff. Chop and drop is good, but I prefer the live plant to the bare soil with mulch on it. But when you have the live plant, that is mulch, except for it's actually catching water from the air and holding it, a lot of it. I don't need the wheelbarrow. I didn't divide this one. Yeah, they gotta plant trees out in California to replace all the trees that burnt down. Little tiny trees, grown from seed. Not tissue culture trees. It's just so depressing, the complete lack of solutions that are known that they don't even mention. This cacao tree is like so full of fruit and just continuously flowering. Just super, super happy growing here in Florida. So dividing these bananas and planting these heliconias and stuff, I've like, because I had to walk into the system to plant some of them, I've like discovered all these little seedling trees that I had planted but never checked. Different trees that are growing in these weeds. And all the issues with the, you know, the Indian River Lagoon and the manatees dying. And then they don't even mention that it's caused from runoff from the pollutants that they use to kill the bugs around their house and their glyphosate and their mowed lawns. People just hate this. The weed look here in Florida for some reason. But that's how you fix that problem. We'll talk to the scientists to try to figure it out. They know what's wrong. Like, cool it with this ignorance. I mean, this stupidity is just, ugh. That's why I have to continue to do videos and show people that you can actually grow plants. Nature can actually grow your plants for you here in Florida. Everyone's in their nutrient balancing here because it's nutrient deprived. Yeah, because the way you manage your soil cover. Let's go check and see if there's actually ripe fruit on there before I drag that bucket over there. Yeah, how you manage the sand, cover of the sand is like crucial here in Florida. So not one way works on sand. You have to do all of them. That's when I hear or see things saying that you don't need to use biodynamic preps or animal manures to grow plants. It's like organically. Yeah, you don't need them, but if you have the diversity, it's better. So why not use them? It's like, I mean, it's just the whole logic in our thinking on agriculture is just so, it's scary. Yeah, we're going to talk to the scientists to figure out how to do it. But you got to kind of talk to the scientists, farmers, because they're the ones that know how to grow this stuff. Okay. Not ready? Nope. Getting very close. Getting very close. Not quite there yet. Is this one? No. It's truly amazing you can grow all this stuff in Florida organically so easily and not have any pest issues. There's a ripe one. Yep, we have a liftoff. That's when they're ready to go, so. I sold a lot of these. $10 a pound, people. Biodynamic chocolate pudding fruit. They're good. I like them. And you get a lot of seeds in there, so. Oh, I see one at the top that something is chewing on. Some creature tried to attack it before it was ripe. Yep, can't pick Black Sapote early. The fruit just sits on the ground and is totally fine, which is really amazing. And here's another ripe one. Well, they're not really ripe. I mean, that's kind of misleading to say that because they still take a few days to ripen. So if I figure I do maybe a video a week, I'll keep my day job, which is dealing with my planting and harvesting and observation here at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. Should I check the guava? No. Mangoes are blooming. Some of them. I actually have a sugarloaf that's starting to bloom. Sugarloaf is one of my favorite mango trees. I was thinking, I don't have a lot of trees, but I think we have like 25 sugarloaf trees. 10 of them fried last year. That was one of them, and it's come back above the graft. This right here. But it's actually taller now than the tree was before. This was a compacted area. Wherever the stuff froze, it was in a compacted area, because we had a record cold of 31 degrees last year, and last winter, 31 degrees for 5 hours. And it only affected certain trees. Mostly mango trees that were newly planted, less than a year in the ground from 3 gallon. But they had never grown, and I knew they were in compacted areas because it's where the soil was always monocrop short lawn after 3 years of not mowing it. And so it happens in compacted areas. Well, in compacted areas, the architecture of the tree, the root, could not be expressed correctly. So, in other words, the tree couldn't send down roots deeper, and it was just in a minimal area in the soil horizon at the top. And if the root architecture isn't fully expressed, its phenotype isn't fully expressed, then the biology growing in the rhizosphere isn't going to be expressed. To the tree's capability, health that provides health for the tree. So it kind of makes sense. I was reading this, or not reading, but I watched this talk, I guess, on YouTube on the International Plant Phenolic Network, I think, IPPN. It's in my playlist. And they did a study on sugarcane and corn. So they took the most abundant amount of biology. So they can't sequence everything. It's just there's so much of it, so much in the soil. So they sequenced the fungi and the bacteria and the roots of that were most predominant, and then isolated those and removed them and applied them to corn roots, and then monitored the leaf constantly. I think every hour, but I think it was 24/7. And they found that the plants that were given the bacteria that were in, and this was in a wild grown sugarcane biology in the plant, because they said the wild grown stuff has the biology in the root zone. So the wild grown bacteria and fungi applied to the corn were able to allow these, like, I think they were like GMO, like from Monsanto and Syngenta, and Pioneer was the other one, the seeds. The plants that were given this biology were able to survive drought and heat. They could change the temperature of the leaf 4 degrees compared to the ones that weren't given the biology. We know that it's the biology that does the functioning in the plant now. So it's like all these other, the nutrient balancing scheme, it just seems so basic is what it is. It's, you got to look at the tree's roots, architecture. That guy's real estate hasn't sold, hasn't gone pending yet. The house next door, the industrial farm next door, 6 acres, 1.5 million, has not gone pending. But he's over there mowing around his trees because he wants the complete opposite of this. But yet, the only area he clears to look into is our property. Of course you want to look at this. He blocks all the other properties, but he clears it to look in here. The lemons are looking good. So I planted, filled in these rows of bananas I have here along the front of the property. Those are some of those mangoes that froze back. This was an all compacted area. So these bananas, I cut them, most of them I dug up and cut them off because they were big rhizomes, and cut them from like big patches of bananas, big huge rhizomes, and then buried upside down in this area of compacted soil last winter. And then now I've gone through and filled, there were some spaces that I had missed. Yeah, 35 miles an hour. I don't think so. Spaces I missed, and I filled in with the bananas, but I didn't cut them off at the base. This is one I planted. We have quite a few bananas. I'm sure we'll be selling bananas next year, but I decided I'm not going to sell cheap. I got to get my website done, but I could do less. You know, because we dry farm, so you got to sell for a higher price. And we're certified organic, and we're certified biodynamic. Even though I see all these certified organic fruit advertised, but yet there's only like a handful, one handful or less of all these tropical fruits. And I know that we're the only source of most of the tropical fruits certified organic, so I'm just confused on, they don't use the organic label, but we do know that people like to break the law. You got to know where your food's coming from. It has to be certified. That's the only food that's checked, but they can't check everything. They can't do everything. This is what area where I dug the banana out. They're looking good. The bananas from last year are quite big. Sapodillas are plentiful. Should be able to start selling those. Yeah, I'm going to get the website together. I keep going back and forth for the website or the Etsy, but I don't want to do Etsy sales. And since I have the website already, I just need to do it. So if I make less videos, then I'll have time to obsess on that. I can't just completely stop making videos, because for every one of my videos, there's 300 of the stupid videos that don't seem to mention anything but just push chemicals. for tropical fruit trees. Or they just don't talk about it. Yeah, we use wood chips, but we also use logs. We use biodynamic preps. We use everything. We use the Korean natural farming. We make our own biodynamic weed, horn, moringa. So you have to like do everything that is available and organic in Florida in order to be successful. I just don't see any other way. Indigenous microorganisms, yes, you have to use everything. We're not allowed to use, public wood chips, so we've never used that. But we've made our own wood chips. Logs seem to work better for me. Just whole branches. Stuff is looking very good in here. So yeah, you can see where I planted the heliconias in here. There's one there. There's one there. And then I divided some bananas and added some more. And there's one back there. Pigeon peas are looking good. Heliconia. When I make videos, I don't have time to do all that because the best time to do it is in the morning. That's when my brain seems to work the best. So I like to do videos and most of my work in the morning for gardening for sure here in Florida. Anyway, this is Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. I hope you have a good day. Florida natural farming.